Well, this is the Bingo Bango Bongo podcast. We just want to welcome everybody in today. This podcast is brought to you by Podcastle Studios. So shout out to them for letting us use this beautiful studio setup
Beautiful
here.
facility.
So if you ever want to start a podcast, reach out to Podcastle Studios. They'll take good care of you. But yeah, we got a big special guest here with us today. So I'll
Well,
let you introduce him.
So our special guest today is one other than my dad, Richard Andrew Gissel, brought to us firstborn, and I'm here because of this guy. So started with grandpa and grandma, and then he came along, and this is why we get a chance to bring all of these stories of the Gissel family to everybody. So we're really excited to talk to my dad and let him just kind of tell us his life and times. And you grow up knowing somebody. It's like this is your father, but how well do you really know your dad? So the hope is throughout this, will we hear some stories that I'm unaware of, and maybe something that you haven't heard either.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably learn some stories.
Like with all children, there are secrets you don't know, and there are secrets you will not know. Okay?
We'll see what we can pull out over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. So, all right. So let's get going straight out of the gates. Dad, you are the oldest of 6 kids. Growing up in Arizona, you and I were talking a bit on our drive out here that you primarily actually grew up in Tempe, and then went to Gilbert High School your sophomore year, and so you didn't do all of high school there. So tell us, what was it like growing up? What's one memory from your childhood maybe that stands out from your early years?
I don't know. I guess always going to the same school and being around the same kids growing up all the way through and stuff till I got to high school. I mean, I went to Tempe High the first year, my sophomore year, and then after that, I moved out to Gilbert with everybody. Mm-hmm. And as far as early childhood vision, I mean, I remember the earliest one I ever had is going. I don't know where it exactly was at, but it was with my grandfather. I was born on his birthday and stuff. He was born on May 12th, and I was born on May 12th. Okay. And he shortly passed away, not I guess about when I was about 3. Uh-huh. But I have one memory of him. We were walking together all the time and stuff. So
that's cool.
And the only memory I really have from him was I remember was actually an emergency. They found out that I was at least allergic or had an allergic reaction to yellow jackets, kind of bees type thing. I got stung, and I'm laying on him, and I got a little bit this from your grandma, where she said they came in to look at me, and I looked like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I was completely, I was just completely blown up, I mean, face, everything. You couldn't even see my eyes and stuff. Whoa! Anyway, that was probably earliest childhood memory I ever had. So,
did you ever get stung later on growing up? That you
I got
remember
stung
having
after
that.
I don't know. It was just a reaction to that or whatever. Yeah. That's just what I was told caused it. But they had to rush me to the hospital. I guess that was probably the really only life and death time I ever really had as a kid. Yeah. And stuff. So they got me in. They got me fixed, I guess, because I'm here.
And you were born. You weren't actually born in Arizona. Where were you born?
I was born in Waterloo, Iowa.
Waterloo, Iowa.
Yeah, I was born in Waterloo, Iowa, and actually 2 of my brothers were born in Iowa. I had another one born in New York, and then Sandy and Tim were born in Arizona.
Okay, and that was in 1957.
I was born in 1957.
Yeah, so that makes you 67 now.
67. That's one of the secrets we don't talk about.
Now, after living out here in Arizona, your teenage years, you graduated in 76.
Yes.
And so your teenage years are in the 70s out here. What's maybe not so early childhood, but like teenage year memory, anything of growing up in the 70s out here?
riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
There it is.
Right, and I don't mean street bikes, I mean dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And stuff. The Elsinores just came out. I'm not going to get into it, but they were lightweight racing bikes. And I started riding them and stuff. And the one childhood memory I have about all that is your grandma hated me riding motorcycles. I would ride motocross. I would ride an organized motocross, and they weren't coming. They weren't coming to that.
Yeah.
So, your grandma was afraid she was going to see me crash and burn right out there on the track, and I did. I crashed quite a bit, but I only broke fingers and stuff like that. So,
How did you get into that though? Like, what got you started? Was it a friend or just something you saw cool?
I was a paper boy. I started working when I was like 11 or so, doing a paper route. I earned enough to get a motorcycle, and I started riding that just around Tempe because there were areas that you could ride with no problem. But and then we moved out to Gilbert, and for me, when we moved out to Gilbert, it was not the best time of my life because, to be honest with you, I lost all my friends and stuff. And when we moved out to Gilbert at the time, not that it's now like that now, but
Yeah.
I mean, when I moved out to Gilbert, I was one of three other guys that weren't Mormon and didn't live and didn't grow up in the Mormon faith. Well, it was a very close knit community there, and because it was so close knit, it was kind of hard to break into the thing. That's where I made my biggest mistake of my life.
Oh.
Was when I went to Gilbert High School. It was out in the boondocks. It's where Mesquite Junior High is now. That used to be the high school. And the biggest mistake is I decided I was going to try to get to know people. And what I did was I decided foolishly to join the junior varsity football team. I spent 8-9 weeks this was rougher than basic training for me. Because I didn't even know how to put the pads on. I didn't know how to do anything with football. I didn't know the positions then at all.
Yeah.
And just the schedule that they had for us and stuff was the junior varsity would scrimmage against the first string, the first string, on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then Wednesday was our light day because we had the games on Thursday all the time, and on Monday and Tuesday they had to have somebody else scrimmage against the varsity guys, so they could. Not the varsity, but the junior high, so they could get practice in. So they
So
put
you were a practice dummy, in essence.
I was the first crash dummy that ever existed. Okay, I am like maybe 95 pounds soaking wet, and they lined me up against some guy that's 230. Okay, and when they said, I said go, we went. I would try to hit them. I would wake up 5 or 6 hours later.
A few hours later.
I'd get trampled.
Yeah.
In both defense and offense. And you think, okay, we're going to have a light day on Wednesday. No. Wednesdays were the worst day.
Oh, no.
Because on that day, we had to scrimmage against the varsity.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And since we have a game on Thursday, our coaches were not going to put in the first string to go against the varsity guys.
Because it's a
They
light
put
day.
in the tackle dummies. And now instead of going up against somebody that's 230, I'm going against some guy that's 300 pounds.
Oh, no.
And let me tell you something. When they talk about Newton's law, that a big object can crush a small object,
Yeah. It's
true.
true.
It's true.
It's 100% true. And by Thursday, I was black and blue.
Oh, no.
I was so bad, I could. There's no way I could play on Thursday.
Yeah.
And I didn't play.
Yeah.
Because they'd look at me and I'd be ice on my knees.
You're already on the injured reserve before Friday ever showed up.
I'm not on injured reserve. I'm on ambulance.
He's headed to the hospital.
So it was just,
So a motorcycle was a lot safer choice in
It
your
was,
opinion.
I'm wearing a helmet then at least. and stuff. So anyway,
So did the plan actually work though? Where even though you were getting beat up and all this, did you make friends during
no,
it?
I didn't make friends.
No.
So
Oh
I,
no.
I, I hooked up with the other two guys that were not Mormon,
Yeah.
and they were actually into motorcycles.
Yeah.
So,
So you got into the motorcycle club.
Yeah.
well, yeah, you don't want to call it that.
Yeah.
We'd work on our motorcycles all week,
Yeah.
and then go out and ride on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We would get up during the summertime at 3:30 in the morning just to go out to get ride because by 11 it was too hot to be outside anymore. But we go out, and that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Dragging your feet, smoking everybody out, riding on motocross. So, again, your grandma hated it because during the week I would have the inside of our garage, the house right there, I'd have my bike completely apart. I'm changing flat tires, I'm changing carburetors. I learned how to work on things doing that.
Just
and stuff.
hands on, just
It was
messing around
hands on
with
and
it.
stuff. And, we'd hack stuff, we'd do different things with it. Go, hey, let's try this. We tried to put a new, we tried to take a 2-barrel carburetor and put it on a 4-stroke engine or something, and it wouldn't work, but it would blow up or something. We'd laugh, we'd have fun with it. And
So
stuff.
it was two friends of yours. What were their names?
Don Schwarting and Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Mike Myers was just a genius East egghead. Okay, he ended up going to MIT.
Wow.
And stuff, and and Don Schwarting was smart too and everything. And but we rode bikes that whole deal, and then we just kind of lost contact after high school.
Have you ever tried to look them up now that we have
Well,
all the social media that we do?
Well, yeah, I've tried looking him up, but I don't know what happened with Mike Myers. Don Schwarting and I hooked up for a few years and stuff, and then we lost track. The last time I saw him is your mom tracked him down, and he ended up showing up at the party when I graduated with my bachelor's degree and stuff. That was the last time I saw him.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So in high school, you're pretty handsy. You're able to figure out how to work on mechanics and all that. What was your favorite subject in school?
I don't know. I wasn't exactly mechanically inclined, but I guess my favorite was actually social studies.
Yeah. History and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'd have to take. The biggest achievement I had in high school, really by myself, was we had to take what was called enterprise. But you could take a test at the beginning of the year, and if you passed that test, you didn't have to take it, and you got out your senior year and didn't have to take it. It was like a half semester or something. But I was the only one in my graduating class that passed the test.
Wow.
And stuff.
That's cool.
And it's only 150 people, but still,
Still, one of 150 is
I'll
pretty
take what
cool.
achievements I can get.
Yeah.
And stuff, so.
Well, then in high school, did you have goals or like what was your life dream? What did you, when I'm 67, what were you hoping that later on in life did you want to grow up in Arizona? Did you want to stay here?
Well, no, I didn't really want to stay in Arizona. I wanted to go do other things. I wanted to see other things. And actually, when I was in high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do until my senior year. I did decide I wanted to be a cop.
Yeah.
The why, I don't know. I just decided law enforcement was where I wanted to try to go.
Yeah.
But back then, it wasn't really easy to get on a police department and stuff because
It was easy or it was not
it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It was a lot harder and stuff. I had to have some experience and stuff. So anyway,
So you needed experience. So what did you do to go get that experience?
I joined the Air Force again. to your grandma's chagrin, because she did not like that one.
So not everybody knows the story of when you enlisted and Grandma's response. Why don't you tell that story? How that went about.
I summer before just to get out of the valley and stuff, I went to work with the Grand Canyon. Worked up there for just the summer, and I was trying to figure out what I want to do, what I want to do. Do I want to go back to college? Do I want to do another year of college? Because I was getting ready to enter my sophomore year. And I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. And I was thinking while I was there, hey, why don't I join the Air Force? Actually, I wasn't thinking the Air Force. I was thinking the Marines.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was thinking about the Marines, but I started looking at everything, and I found that the Air Force gave me more of a choice where I wanted to go or do or something. So I went and I told your grandma when I came back from the Grand Canyon, I'm thinking about joining the Air Force. She said, "Oh no, you're not. Oh no, you're not." And I told Grandpa, my dad, and he went, "Well, if you got to join the military, I'd be the one to do it. I was in it, rah rah." So, I, anyway, what again? Much to your grandma's chagrin, I was kind of going to recruiters, seeing them, talking to them and everything else and I signed up and went got my testing done and got my physical and everything else like that. And I thought, okay, I can't not go in before. This is like 1977. I told her I can't go in though before Christmas. Your grandma's going to want me to be there for Christmas. I said, so I can't go in before Christmas. I have to go in on delayed enlistment program, So I did. But I came home and I told your grandma like around Thanksgiving.
So was your head already? Did you already get your head shaved?
No,
and all that?
no, nothing
You hadn't
like
done
that.
any of that yet.
But when I told her on Thanksgiving, that was way too early. I wasn't going until February, but it was way too early. Anyway, I told her what it was, and she went, "Huh? Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "I be a cop or something, Mom. Aren't you proud of me?" We'll talk about that later. We never talked about that again.
No.
And the day I went, your grandpa took me to drop me off at the recruiting station, and I was being shipped out to San Antonio. And I said, "Bye, Mom." "Yeah, we'll see you."
Oh, that's harsh.
She was
She
not
was not happy.
happy.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't say she wasn't happy.
Yeah, but you knew. You know your mom.
Yeah.
You two are married just like I am. You know when you're in trouble.
Right.
Okay, so
Fact.
anyway, I was in trouble.
Yeah.
So
So talk to us about married life. You left or not married life, military life. So you left, and where did you get shipped off to?
well, when I went into the military, the one thing I decided I was going to do was take any training they gave me. Okay, so I went in. They made me a law enforcement specialist, which is a cop, people you see on the gate and stuff. And then while I was in LE school, they said, "Hey, you want to go K-9?" "Yeah, why not?" So we'll go to K-9. That was kind of a big mistake. That was not a mistake, but it was more of that impacted me more than anything else, because I went to dog school right there, and when I went in there, I did not know that they were experimenting at the time. They've been doing it since World War II, but they were experimenting where, as a patrol dog handler, you jumped out of airplanes. Okay? Was not afraid of heights.
Yeah.
I am terrified of heights now.
Oh, no.
Okay? Made two jumps where my chute didn't quite open right. And I didn't have the dog with me when I jumped, but and kind of wrecked up one of my ankles, not ankle, but my heel, kind of bad, and everything. But I was, fine.
So the chute did deploy. It just didn't
Well, yeah,
deploy fully. Well, yeah, you're
I'm
here.
sure. So, yeah,
But
it deployed, but it tangled up. It didn't quite open right.
Didn't fully
I was doing like
unravel.
a 3,000 foot jump, and it didn't quite open quite right. And I just did hookup jumps. I never did whatever and stuff, and it didn't quite open quite right, and scary.
and this was not a tandem jump where you're with somebody else.
No.
You had done enough jumps
Okay.
with tandem, but so now you're doing it by yourself.
Tandem jumps nowadays are that's something that hippie type people do.
Okay.
Okay. They didn't do tandem jumps. They didn't exist back then. The parachutes aren't like they are now. I mean, once you jump out, you could kind of guide,
Yeah.
but you really didn't have.
You just went where it took you.
You're going to land where the gravity takes you and stuff. So, and like I said, I had two jumps like that were not the greatest and stuff. and luckily I was able to get out of the one jump though that was more than anything else is I did jump out of it and lost my dog out of that and stuff. Um, I jumped out of the plane, and see when you jump out with your dog, you have your dog strapped to your front, and and the dog could weigh about 100 pounds extra and stuff. And yes, back then I could carry that 100 pounds and stuff. And stuff, not like I carried in the front. I carried in the front now, but I
You
carried
carried the dog.
in the front. And we jumped out, and you get about 100 feet from the ground, and you deploy a secondary line, and the dog drops about 10 feet ahead of you, so it lands first, and then you land to the side of it. Well, I deployed the line like I was supposed to, and unfortunately for the dog, the line snapped.
Oh no.
And so when I deployed the line, he kept going.
Oh no.
And
So what was the name of that dog?
I think the dog was named Anchor.
Oh no.
What's an anchor?
That's not good.
I know.
That's not good.
The thing
Anchors
is, too,
away.
the thing is too, there was a picture. Someone was there and actually took a picture of it.
Wow.
And so you see this guy floating down, and you see the dog still going.
Oh no.
And anyway, Anchor unfortunately did not survive.
not survive.
Luckily, it was fast for him. But that was the longest 100 feet because I thought I'm going to be court-martialed. I'm going to Leavenworth.
Yeah.
I was scared to death.
Yeah.
And I remember my jump master coming over and went, "The dog died." Okay, well, don't let that happen again. And then he turned around and walked away. That's all I ever heard of it and stuff. But I mean, you're watching your dog fall right
Yeah.
there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's kind of
That's some terrifying stuff right there.
it was, especially for the dog and stuff.
Especially for the dog.
But
But now that's what played into because I know that you are not a fan of heights today.
here's the weird thing. I'll get in like roller coasters. I can small planes, but getting like walking up to the edge of something.
Yeah.
Was just I don't I'm not a fan. I don't panic or nothing like that. I had something happen when I was a cop and everything, and I was in the and because of the height thing, they had to call the fire department out to save me, and stuff. So, but no, I'm not a big fan of heights at all.
I know of a story where the mom and dad were at the Hoover Dam. Was it?
No, yeah, Hoover Dam. You're lucky. I'm lucky I'm not a widower right now because I was about ready to throw your mother over that thing. So,
The story is he's standing there like close to the edge, right? And you tell the rest of the story. What happened?
we were there for our anniversary or something like that. And it was almost our last anniversary too. 'Cause she came up behind me and went, "Ha! Saved you!" type thing, like that and stuff. And
Shook you.
I went. We left right there.
I just remember hearing like the trip was over. It was. It was done.
This was over with.
No more celebration.
We're not going back to that ever again. So. Yeah.
Oh, well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. My question would be like, how long was training, and like, did you come back? Was Grandma back to being happy to see you, or was it take a while?
I'm happy to see her every so now and then right now and stuff. It just
So
and I still love her. So I mean
no, we're
I'm talking
talking
about
about grandma.
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 Yeah. So
Okay.
when you came back from deployment, like how long did it take grandma
no.
to start
She-
talking again?
She
and-
she started talking to me after I was done with training and stuff, and she just did not want to get that call or visit or something like that that I wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
Stuff, so. But no, she said she remembered because I think one of the things it did was when I was that was the first birthday that I was gone, and I was the first one that was gone. She didn't have her for my birthday.
Yeah.
And I came back when I was like halfway through some of my training. I actually flew back for a long weekend, and I surprised her at a restaurant. Your grandpa had your cousin's cousins, your
Aunts and
uncles and
uncles.
stuff, come pick me up at the airport and take me right to a restaurant, and I was in uniform, and so.
That's
That's
cool.
cool.
After that, she started warming up to me
There it
It
is.
and
was, it
stuff.
was better. So you got to travel around. Your actual position in the military was K-9 patrol, or what was
Well,
your actual
yeah,
title?
I was that in customs.
Okay.
I traveled quite a bit. I was right after I left training in San Antonio. That's where I did most of my training at, except for jump school. I actually went to Robins Air Force Base in Georgia for like 2 weeks. It was only like a 2 week program because I didn't. They didn't do like a significant thing for us. It was a short tour, and so I went to. So right after that, I went to Bergstrom Air Force Base right away. And I got there like September of '79.
Yeah.
No, September of '78.
Yeah.
I got anyway.
What year did you actually go in?
Well, I
It
went
was-
in February of '78,
Okay.
and then I was in training that entire time. And I went to, I also went to Air Base Ground Defense, which is an extra thing that cops would do that were male because they were in combat roles. Women weren't in combat roles at the time. They are now, but they weren't back then. And so we'd go to another place in Texas. Actually, I think it was Fort Hood at the time. We went to Fort Hood, and we spent a month living in MASH tents and stuff and doing air-based ground defense where we learned how to do patrols like that and stuff with weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then when I came back to, I came back here, got my car, and went right to Bergstrom. And Bergstrom is in Austin, Texas at the time. So I just went from San Antonio right up to Austin. But I was there like 2 days, and they said, "Get your stuff. You're being deployed." I'm going, "What am I being deployed to?" And stuff. And they said, "We can't tell you." And well, so I grabbed my dog that I had. I just got a brand new dog. I mean, this dog was named Satan, and
The dog's name was Satan.
dog was named Satan. And this dog, he hated people. He tolerated me and stuff. So I took him out of the deal. Anyway, all of a sudden they put me on a plane, and I'm flying. We fly for 15 hours. We end up in the Azores off Portugal. Refuel, and then we get back on the plane, and stuff. And next thing I knew, we're driving, flying, and all of a sudden they come up and go, "All right, 10 minutes to jump zone." Oh, what? What are you talking about, jump zone and stuff? And again, they wouldn't tell us where we were going. Well, come to find out, that was just about the time the Iranian crisis happened. And so all of a sudden they get up there. We're on a 130 now, which is one of the smaller prop plane type things. And we changed planes 4 or 5 times, and they opened up the back, and we get our gear on and everything else like that. And all of a sudden the jump lights coming on and everything else like that. And we jump out into the dark. We had
You don't know where you are.
we have
You don't
no
know when
idea.
it is.
We have no idea where I'm at.
You're just
Okay?
jumping into the dark with Satan.
Yeah, I'm jumping in the dark with Satan. Both of us survived. We hit,
Yeah.
and we hit in sand. And I'm going, what the heck?
What is this?
Yeah, it ended up being Cairo West. Okay, in the military, we did not call it Cairo West. We called it Bum F Egypt. we were in Egypt. Is where we were at. That was our first deployment area right there. And we still didn't know why we were there. And we were there everything got up, redeployed. Then we put some trucks after we got our bearings where we were at and stuff, and they ended up driving us, another 8 hours or something, and we ended up in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And there's and Saudi Arabia has all kinds of bases. We ended up guarding AWACS planes. The AWACSs are the big radar type planes. They got the big wheels on the back or something like that, and they're multi-billion-dollar aircraft even back then. Wow. And so we got deployed, using them for all that time, and I was there for 3 months.
Yeah.
3 months or something like that, and it was hot.
Yeah.
So, think Arizona was hot. It was hot then. It was in September.
Yeah.
And everything. So
Crazy.
Crazy. That's a bit.
So we were there for that long, and then I was back stateside.
Yeah.
After 3 months.
Yeah.
And so you were just doing patrols and just guarding those planes?
Well, yeah, we were on. It was we ended up staying in bunkers. They didn't have any places. They just built this thing, and like I said, it was the Iranian thing that just started. They had the hostages and everything, and Iran is, of course, whatever. Not it's kind of like northeast or where we were at or something, or northwest or something, and we ended up staying there. And the one incident that happened there was we could not carry. We could carry our GAUs, which was M16s with the collapsible stack, but we couldn't have bullets. We didn't have bullets. So it just anyway.
It was all show.
We couldn't have. The only one that had bullets was our lieutenant, and he had them in a .38 gun that he had on his deal. We had the Saudi Arabian army surrounding us with jeeps with 50 cals and stuff like that on there, or whatever, to protect us. They had the ammunition. They were supposed to be the ones to do the fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. We're walking around there one day, and all of a sudden we hear a gunshot go off. We're hitting the ground, dogs are going nuts and everything else like that. And we look over, and the Saudi Arabian army that they had at the time, they're running the opposite direction. We're standing there with these multi-billion-dollar aircraft, GAUs, no bullets, and dogs barking at whatever. We're laughing, at first, until we realized that one of the Saudi Arabian guys dropped their gun or something like that, and it went off, scared everybody, scared all of them.
So everybody's running.
They're running while we're being left there while grabbing watching the aircraft. So we sat there going, if something happened, or something, if an enemy came in, we were toast.
Yeah.
So, okay,
We were running.
So, anyway.
But that was in Egypt, and it's super hot. But you also served in Korea, and complete opposite of that. I remember these like blankets that we had at the house that Mom said that she got because they were like super thick, and that's what you were using in Korea.
She sent me. I got there just before Christmas, and of 1980. And stuff. I got there. You were like 4 months old or something like that, and I was deployed there for a year. I got there, and somebody. I went to Iowa. So I've seen snow, everything else like that, but but that was nothing compared to Korea. I was at Kunsan Air Base, and I walked. I was in a barracks that was 3 stories high. I remember I got there at 11 o'clock at night. I opened up the curtains to look outside, and it's snow. We're 30 foot snow, and I look outside, and they got snow caves for us to get in and out. And they said it normally isn't this bad. Normally, it only comes up to the 2nd floor.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Whatever. Yeah. I wrote your mom and told her this. She sent me the electric blanket that we had. And I thought, I can't do this. I'm going to have to send it back to her. She needs this. I thought, but I can't send it back till tomorrow. So I'll just take it out and use it tonight.
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Anyway, I took it back with me when I went back the next year.
So talking about your time out there, let's talk about, are you open to sharing anything about combat? And I know that you got a medal while you're out there. Is that something that you're comfortable talking about?
Well, yeah, a little bit. It wasn't so much combat. Korea, when I got there, was still under martial law. It looked like you get into Osan or someplace like that, it looked like Los Angeles, the streets and everything else like that. But it still was considered, at war. I think they're still considered at war. And so we were always going on alerts for different things. They had small ships coming down from North Korea, and Kunsan is actually on the Sea of Japan, and Kunsan was the only base in Korea or most of PACAF that had special weapons, which are nukes.
Okay.
Not nuclear missiles or nothing like that, but I mean ones that they could put on the F-16s and even the F-4s that we had there. They could arm them. But so they knew that if North Korea ever attacked, our life expectancy said would be 8 minutes.
Wow.
And stuff. Okay, so anyway, we had deployments like that, and we had alerts that we'd have to go on. So and we didn't shoot our weapons or nothing like that. I mean, we carried the GAUs, and when I first got there, I was a drug dog handler, detector, but I wasn't working a drug dog. I was on and stuff, but anyway, I had this dog named King, and sorry.
You're good,
It's
Dad.
okay.
You're good. And we don't have to talk about it.
Well, let's just say that one alert, I was on a post by myself with the dog,
Yeah.
and I put, and we're there, and I'm walking the beach, right there, and all of a sudden the dog alerts towards the sea,
Sure.
and I'm going whatever, and I look and I can't see anything. It's dark. I could see better then than I can now,
Sure.
but anyway, the dog kind of alerted that way. So I called in to the command post that hey, I had alert out this way, and so they told the ROK Army, South Korean Army, that was also there. They're the ones that were guarding the entry area, and when so they send up flares, kind of they deploy flares out that way.
LPC.
Well, just to see what's going on, you can't see
Yeah.
anything. Anyway, they ended up that down on the beach, which is probably a good 150 yards away from where I was at.
Yeah.
There is, I could see figures moving down there, and the dog's going crazy and everything else like that. And all of a sudden, I don't hear exactly. I got my radio, and we didn't have earplugs, so I was listening with the thing as I was carrying it, the walkie-talkie that I was carrying. It all of a sudden, I could hear the ROK Army talking back and forth to whatever, and the only word I could understand was incoming.
Wow.
And I'm going, what do you mean incoming? And the flares were going down, so they're deploying more flares. And now the whole beach is lit.
Yeah.
And I could see there's probably a dozen or whatever down on the beach. And and they start shooting in my direction. But they're not shooting just at me. They're shooting, I mean, behind me, about 500 yards or maybe 200 yards behind me, I had up on a ridge was the ROK Army. They're, of course, shooting back. So I'm like, I'm getting down.
You're right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, my dog's going nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, he jumped, gunfire, just,
Yeah.
he's going nuts. So I'm trying to drag him. I'm trying to get to a small bunker that's not too far away. And all of a sudden, the ROK Army opens up. I got tracer rounds flying over my head and stuff. And I mean, you think fireworks at Disneyland are beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's why I hate fireworks to this day.
Yeah.
I had these tracer rounds flying over my head. And the way tracer rounds were, being shot from 50 cals, and like every third bullet's a tracer round. And I got these things flying over my head, going every which way, and I'm trying to get to the bunker. It's flying like maybe 10 feet above my head.
Yeah.
I get to the bunker, and I can still see what's going on down the road. But the people that are down there that I can't tell exactly who they are or what they are, are advancing towards me, and some of them were going down. And so because it was the tracer rounds are getting them, but I mean, they're hidden every which way. I mean,
It's
you know,
combat. It's
yeah,
full on combat.
I guess anyway. So I get to the bunker, and two of the guys from the bunker, two of the guys from the beach. I'm in there, and I've already let my dog go. He's gone. I have no idea where this dog is. To this day, I don't know where. I found traces of him later on.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the things were going off. And two of the guys got to my bunker. Man, I've already gone through 2 clips
Yeah.
and stuff. I know I've hit people. Yeah. And anyway, one of the guys got to the bunker, and anyway, one of the guys finally got to the bunker. And anyway, I left.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I've ever.
I really haven't talked about this. The one thing that's happened since then
Sure.
is before that, I dreamed all the time.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is just God.
Yeah.
This is the Lord.
Yeah.
I don't dream anymore.
No dreams.
I have, like, I dream, but I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
I go, like, to sleep. And so, no, it's just not, I just don't talk about it.
Yeah. No. And
So this is the most I've ever talked about.
it is. I'm aware that something happened, but
And that's, but anyway, the guy got to the bunker, and then, anyway,
yeah.
I left. He did. I left.
You left and he didn't, and that's where the medal came from.
So,
Well, I don't know
it was not a fun day.
No, no.
It was not a fun day.
But I don't know that I've ever said just like honestly, just thank you for. I mean, I know you. I mean,
don't thank me. I just wasn't going to die.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, fair.
Anyway.
Well, then it was around that. So I'm already born. Like you've already met Mom. We kind of skipped past the meeting Mom story. Yeah. And
well, again, Satan introduced us.
So you were doing at that time. Now this part I know, and I know we're running short on time. So what I've heard, and you correct me on what I know, is that Dad was you do patrols at Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin. Mom happens to be assigned in Austin at that time. And one of Dad's assignments is with drug dogs. Satan sniffs out drugs, and Dad gets told, is what I've heard, that there may be some illegal items in a particular dorm room on the base, and so Dad gets assigned to go check that out. And it just so happens to be one Pamela Louise Rivera's room. Now, what I have been told all my life is that somebody didn't like my mom and
no, it wasn't your mom. It was her roommate.
It was her roommate.
Mom had just gotten there, and
Okay.
one of the guys that was a cop on base. She was dating her.
Okay.
And anyway, they were afraid that the other girls had put illegal drugs or marijuana or whatever. So they asked me to go clear the room for them and take my dog in while I had Satan. Went in, searched the whole room and stuff. Didn't find anything.
I don't know that I ever realized that the dog that introduced you guys was
Satan.
Satan.
So anyway, the guy that I was friends with and your mom's roommate said, "Hey, let's get those two together."
Yeah.
And to this day, your mom says that I asked them to hook me up with him. That's not true. Okay, and since this is my podcast, this is the truth. At the same time, too, my friend told me that your mom wanted to meet me. Oh, okay, whatever. No, let's go for it. She was
Yeah.
cute, and anyway, so we met and everything, and we
So,
hung.
well, is it true that your first date you took her on the date you picked her up on a motorcycle? Like
That's all I had.
that's all you had.
That's
So
all I had and stuff.
meet
That was
Richard
before you
Gissel.
went back to get the car to
Well,
bring you back, right?
well, I had a car, and I thought I want a motorcycle, and that's why I wanted to start riding motorcycles again, and so I got a street bike, and that's what I had, and so yeah, your mom and I went on, that's all we had for
Yeah.
like
What'd you
6
do on
months.
that first date?
What?
What'd you do on that first date?
There's Town Lake area there, like a river that goes through, or they call it Town Lake, and we went there, stuff, just walking around and everything else like that. And I don't know, we went on one date and we just stayed together after that. So,
Yeah, obviously went well.
Things worked out.
Yeah.
Things worked out from there. Well, then, what? Let's now we're talking family and transition from there. So, what was it like when becoming a dad for the first time? Did you feel like you were ready for it? Were you excited? Were you nervous? Were you what was that like?
Wasn't nervous.
Yeah.
Stuff. That was just your mom was pregnant. Stuff. And we had you and stuff, and then the thing is, most of the time that your mom was pregnant, I was gone.
Yeah.
Because I was deployed. I was actually at tech school back down in San Antonio during that last 4 months that she was. I get a call. I'd been down there like 9 months, and I came back up every weekend because it's like 100 miles away. So I drive back up, and we already had we bought a truck and everything, and so your mom kept the truck, but so she kind of went through her first pregnancy by herself.
Yeah.
And everything, and then now we had you. I came. I got it. They weren't going to let me come up when you were going to be born, but turned out that my tech sergeant at Bergstrom, my boss at Bergstrom, was actually good friends with my trainer in San Antonio at the tech school, and so they weren't going to let me go when I found out that she was in labor. She was in labor, and he actually came in and my tech sergeant up in there called his friend, got me permission, so I got on my bike and went right up to San Antonio. I mean, to Austin, because you were born like the next day or something like that. So
Yeah. So, you ended up having what was talk about fatherhood then for me. You ended up with 3 kids, and what was maybe one of your favorite moments of being a dad that you can remember?
I don't know. Just playing with you kids and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was always working quite a bit.
Yeah.
When I was a cop, I was working on as many shifts as I could get, and
Yeah.
because we were trying to keep your mom home
Yeah.
while you guys were growing up
Yeah.
and stuff. So, I'd work as many shifts as I could. I worked at a hospital part time. So,
Yeah.
there were days where I didn't have a day off for like 3 or 4 weeks. I'd have one day off or something, and everything. And of course, I'm working shift work too. I mean, my shift changed every month and stuff. So, when you guys were younger, trying to, we'd go play. When we had you kids, we didn't have anybody else in Waco.
Yeah.
So when we went out at night on a date, you guys came with us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we just did.
Yeah.
So All three of you did.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just remember different times. I remember the one time the three of you came in as a kind of an asset for me. We had roll calls going on. I've been a cop maybe for 5 years by that time, and I remember one of my sergeants was kidding me, and because the night before or something like that, I arrested some woman for domestic violence, and this is new. Nope, and I arrested this woman for beating up her husband, and they were all kidding me about that in roll call that
Yeah.
I arrested this woman for beating up a guy and everything. And one of my sergeants says, "Oh, Gissel did that because he doesn't like women." And I said, "Well, I got 3 kids, so I know there's one woman I like, and stuff." So, so that's one of the things I remember.
Yeah.
from
Do you
that.
have any tips for any of like soon to be fathers or anything like that? Or,
Try to be consistent. Don't take it personal. Don't be their friend. Okay, be their father. And when I say be their father, I mean when they need, they need you as a father, not as a friend. They got plenty of friends.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean sometimes you're going to be left out because they're going to want to do something, and at point in time, your kids are going to hate you. Okay, well, that's just part of the job. Okay, sure. So I mean, just they're not going to be happy with you, and I didn't tell them to make them happy. I did it to protect them. So, and you're not going to do it right. You won't do it right. There ain't no manual of this.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what is something that maybe you're most proud about from your kids? Like, you know,
well, I mean, all three of you have achieved stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but I also said too that I mean, when someone says, "Are you proud of your kids? Did you do right by your kids? Are you proud?" I said, "Look, my kids are not in jail, they're not dead, and they're not gay. So,
Right.
and nothing wrong with being gay. But I'm just,
No, that
my
works.
achievement was that
You're
my
good.
children."
Yeah, no, thank you for that. I appreciate that. My wife thanks you. My kids thank you.
So I mean, just having a workable human being that's not a drain on society. I mean,
Right.
you can't, you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, what is something years down the road that you hope that your grandkids remember about you?
hopefully I'm fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I couldn't be fun with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. But different
I
rules.
can be fun. I can be fun, but I couldn't be like, But like I'm hoping that my my granddaughters and so and my grandsons will all be I the fond memory they had is that I was that I was fun when I was around. When mom and dad told me no, they could come to grandpa, and you'd say yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's one of those type things where I can just
Perk of being a grandpa.
well, yeah, you can be grandpa and spoil the kids and everything else like that, then give them back. Okay.
Fair. Fair. So you had talked about that you don't have dreams. Let's talk about your faith, your spirituality, and things of that nature. Just talking about God. Who is God to you? What is who is God, or how does one talk to God?
Well, I mean, I am God. I am God.
Wow, did not expect that.
God, and he has a dog named Satan.
Like, right?
That's above my pay grade right there. No, I mean, for me, God, it's a pretty personal type thing.
Sure.
I don't believe in imposing my thinking or will on somebody else. I want to do it by deeds alone. I mean, that's my best
Sure.
thing. And I mean, it's like when your mom and I, for example, we got married on a Sunday. almost 45 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on a Saturday, 45 years ago, we walked into a Pentecostal church for the first time on a Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and we never left. Now, yeah, I've done some backsliding here and there and everything else like that, and everything, and I put work ahead of church sometimes because I have to go to work before I go to church because I got to provide. But I mean, I think beyond that, I've been consistent. I try to be an example
Yeah.
and stuff more than preach the I mean, if you guys decide you're going to be one thing than the other, that's your decision and stuff. And I want you guys to be independent enough to do that. And I just hope that my example leads you down the right one. Of course,
There you go.
so.
There you go. Well, we're coming up towards the tail end of it, on our time. So, looking at some of these last few questions that we have, I know I did a lot of the talking today, but
I mean, this was an important one for you to do.
yeah,
Most of the talking.
I'll be quiet when you're talking to your dad. How about that? Yeah. How about funniest or most embarrassing moment of your life? Something that stands out to you as maybe a really embarrassing moment that you still remember to this day from any moment in your life that you're like,
I guess the funniest or most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me was when I was a cop.
okay,
I I made a traffic stop, and of course your uncle and cousin and stuff. Anybody who's been a cop can understand this. I made a traffic stop. There was this woman I made a traffic stop on, and it was one of these ones where the traffic stop went bad even before I got to the car.
okay,
Okay. Well, anyway, I come walking up, and by the time I get up there, she's undone a couple of buttons, everything else like that. I mean,
trying to get out of a ticket.
but but by that time, I mean, I'm married, and I just, no. Anyway, I get her driver's license, but then she goes off on me. And I mean, how dare you stop me? There's kidnappers out there, bank robbers, and you're stopping me for what? I said, yes, ma'am. Can I have your driver's license, please, and stuff, and your insurance? And she gives it to me, and I don't understand why you can't do this. Why can't you be doing something? Why can't you be getting real criminals and stuff? You're stopping people like me, just some. I'm an independent woman and stuff. I mean, you're stopping me. She was a Baylor student or something, and I said, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. So I get all her stuff from her, and I have to listen to her for like 5 minutes. Okay, just going on and on. And I finally said, ma'am, I got to write you a ticket. So I go back to my car, and, I'm sorry. I'm going to write her ticket down. I'm going to write her for anything I can get. I mean, I can figure out how to take her to jail. I'm going to take it. But the only thing I really had her on was speeding. And in Texas at the time, you couldn't arrest people for speeding. Anyway, so I write up the ticket and everything else like that, and I come back to give her my spiel about, court, this kind of stuff. And when I do, she's quiet. She's not saying a word. She's steaming, but she's not saying a word to me and everything. So I come walking up, and I think, okay, I'm going to get out of this fairly unscathed. And she looks at me, and I tell her, the speeding ticket, you're going to go to court.
Yeah.
You need to sign this for me. And she takes my ticket book, and she signs it and everything else like that. She takes my pen, my ticket book, and hands it back to me. And she says, "Thank you, officer. Oink, oink."
Wow.
I tear off the driver. I tell her, give her back her driver's license along with the ticket. And I hand it back to her, and I look at her and go, "You're welcome, ma'am. Arf, arf."
Oh.
Okay. Well, anyway, she peels off. I'm going, oh, I get back to the car, and I think to myself, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
I should not have done that.
Yeah.
Anyway, about 30 minutes later, my dispatch calls me and says 1019 the hall. 1019 means come to the police department.
Yeah.
And that means you go to the police department and they want to see you in the patrol office. I'm going, oh man, I think I'm fired.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so I get back to it takes me like 20 minutes to get back to her. I get back to, and I go upstairs to to the patrol office, and I walk in, and there is more brass in this place than you want to think. The chief of police is in there. I did this during the day too, which is terrible. Anyway, I had the police, I had the assistant chief in there. My sergeant's in there. Actually, a couple of sergeants are in there. My lieutenant's in there, and my sergeant's sitting behind the desk. And he says, "You need to sit down." And I walk in there, and this lady's over there and stuff. And I'm going, "Oh my God!" You know.
She went to the police station
Oh
herself.
yeah, she went to complain on me right away. And by the time I got in there and stuff, they're all she'd already given her version and everything. She tells them that I gave her the ticket and I called the B word, and stuff. No, that wasn't true.
Yeah.
And stuff. I was polite.
Yeah.
And everything. And she said, then halfway through it, she said, I called her the F bomb B word. And I'm like, all these
Big wigs.
Yeah.
All your bosses.
all my
like,
bosses are looking at me like,
Yeah.
okay,
You done messed up.
we're going to arrest you for
Yeah.
this and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I finally said, Sergeant, I
did do it.
didn't
Yeah.
color any of these words. And then they finally looked at the lady and said, he really used these words with you. And I mean, they're all serious. Like they're getting ready to write up the disciplinary forms and everything. Asked me for my badge and gun and stuff. And she said, well, that's not exactly what she said. And I said, what
did he
say? And she said, he barked at me. And I'm still like, whatever. And when she said, my sergeant said, he did what? And he said, he didn't say those words exactly, but he said, arf, arf. And she said that, and
Everybody.
the entire room busted out laughing. All of them just busted up laughing. And I'm still sitting there. She gets
Just
all
even
red
more
faced
mad.
and storms out of the room. And storms out of the room. And my sergeant looks over. He's still laughing. He's got tears coming down his eyes. He said, don't ever do that again.
Don't
Get out of here.
Don't park
And
at the
stuff.
people.
So, anyway, so that was the one funny, embarrassing thing that happened.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Funny.
Well, let's flip it around and go the other direction.
Yeah. So what's the proudest moment of your life, or memory?
I don't know. Again,
Something that you're the most proud of. Accomplishments.
I don't know, marrying the right woman.
Yeah.
No, I mean, guys just don't, you always marry up higher than you are.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, if you do that, you're going to hopefully treat her right and stuff. It's like that old joke, about, if a man, it's like that old joke that a man is the provider. A man gives the woman a home, and the woman makes the home, gives you back to the man tenfold, makes that house a home.
Yeah.
If a man buys the groceries, gives them to his woman, she takes that, gives it back to the man tenfold by making a meal. Sure. At the same time, if a man gives his woman frustration, she gives it back tenfold.
Here I am thinking he's going to get all serious, and then very, very good.
That's awesome.
All right, well let's wrap it up then. Last question. I want you to pretend, Dad, that the entire Gissel clan, everybody's in the room, and you have their undivided attention. If you could say anything to all of the Gissels at one time, a message, we'll pretend this is the only time that you can actually say something and everybody's listening to you. What is something you want to tell the Gissel family?
I don't know. Don't take life too seriously. Love each other, and don't stress about everything that comes along and stuff, and don't worry about everything. I mean, worry about the things you can take care of, and let God take care of the rest. That's it.
There you go.
Good stuff.
appreciate you taking time with us. And Dad,
Appreciate you for driving me out here.
yeah, I did. I chauffeured you. I will say that you did good. You did good. I love you, and I appreciate everything that you did for me growing up. Like, I know that you worked for as long as I know. You worked two, if not three jobs, and I know it was for providing for the family. What we didn't really have time to get to, but you've got an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctorate degree. Pretty sure you're the only doctor in the entire Gissel family. When you really think about it, I have a master's degree by and large. I'll tell you one quick story because and maybe we can splice it in some other
Yeah.
way. But the one thing that stands out to me about my dad the most, I was maybe 12 and I screwed up. And I was with a friend, and he and I got caught shoplifting at Albertson's grocery store on our way to middle school, Gilbert Junior High. We got picked up, and long story short, I just knew that I was done. I was dead. Like, family of dad's a criminal investigator, he works in law enforcement. Like you've messed up big on this one. And the one thing that I remember sitting in my room thinking that I'm about to get a butt whooping like I've never had before. You came into the room, and instead of yelling, instead of screaming, uh, I'm 44 now, and I remember that you laid out on the bed your bachelor's degree, your high school diploma, your bachelor's degree, your master's, and some books. And I just remember the life lesson of you said this is what we do. As Gissels, we work for what we need, we earn what we want, and we don't just take. And for me, that was such you're going to pay it back. And I was grounded for like a month after that. Part of that was that Grandma was the one that picked me up from the grocery store. So they called Mom and Dad. Neither one of them believed that I'd been shoplifting. So they called Grandma, and that was almost worse than Mom and
Yeah.
Dad coming together. Because she walks up and she just looks at me with this
Disappointed look.
disappointed look. And then she goes into the back room with the grocery store security. They talk for a bit, and then they come out, and I stand up, and they're like, sit back down. So I sit down, and Grandma just walks away. And I'm like, Grandma. And she just walked away. And they said, your grandmother would like you to go to jail. And they call the cops, and law enforcement shows up and puts me in handcuffs and walks me. I do a perp walk like in front of all of Albertsons and I remember I had to work because it was $100 fine for shoplifting. I had to work that off because Grandma paid it, and I had to work at Grandma and Grandpa's house at $1 an hour that summer, and cleaning out. I had to work on their garage and help. Like I had to clean out their chimney. And I'm pretty sure I paid them back about 12 hours, $12 of the 100 that I owed them. In addition to the community service that Grandma made sure that I had to do with the city. Anyway, but that's a little bit about Grandma, but it's probably one of the most profound lessons that I got from Dad growing up. And so I love you, man, and thanks for taking time to chat with us.
We appreciate you coming on and just opening up. So, yeah.
Okay.
We also want to say thank you again to
Justin
and
Julie, and the Moskowitz family, and Lil Jackson, and Podcastle Studios. So another shout out there.
This is a beautiful setup that Podcastle Studios has. If you want to do a podcast, they've got all of the bells and whistles, all of the equipment set up right here in the heart of Gilbert. You need to look them up, and they will make magic happen for you. So special shout out to them, and thank you. And Gissel family, we're working our way through every single one of you guys. We're trying to do it chronologically, but we'll also just do it based off of what schedules will allow. We want to hear your story. We want all the Gissels to be able to jump in so you can learn more about the Gissel legacy and how to carry it on. We love you, and we'll see you next time. This is Josh.
I'm Jackson.
And that was Richard Gissel. Thanks for watching.